teachers of Reddit, what is the funniest thing you've ever heard a student say? Wore a Captain America shirt to school since the student council had a superhero day. A student said I looked like Captain America before the injections. One time a kid asked me what I wanted to do when I grow up. One time I was asking students their birthdays. One boy told me that his birthday was September 31st. I tried to explain that this was not possible, but he insisted. Later, I looked it up. I then informed him that his birthday was November 17th. He looked at me kind of confused and said oh. Then his face brightened and he said, well, last year I know it was September 31st. Besides being called mom numerous times, I've been called grandpa once. I'm female. Close bracket. I teach elementary band. One time we were preparing for a challenging playing test and a student said man, I need to practice. Without missing a beat the kid next to him says my mom says I need Jesus. Was tutoring after school a couple years ago. A kid asked what time is it? I joked. Time for you to get a watch. He responded time for you to get a new joke. Without a moment's hesitation. I had to laugh at getting shown up by a 5th grader. 2 reading levels behind, but witty as hell. Here's my absolute favorite story I have not yet told on Reddit. I had a student who was a newcomer, just moved to the US. Almost no English, from Latvia. This kid is very bright, and was one of my favorite 6th graders ever. We were having our annual jog-a-thon, which is linguistically and culturally not translatable from Latvian. Student, so I pay you, and you make me run. Me, yeah. That's actually how it goes. Student, this is simple. I don't pay you. You don't make me run. Me, not a teacher, but when I was in middle school our teacher started the day by ranting about how kids these days need to go outside more to get vitamin D, because it'll make them not depressed and a lot happier. Halfway through the class she gets into an ungodly rage probably about something trivial. The minute she's done, without skipping a beat, my buddy says, why don't you go outside and look at the sun? The class starts dying with laughter, but the teacher doesn't find it so funny. He actually got suspended for that one. Middle school field trip to a different state. One of the chaperones, a large black woman, wanted to get in a little nap in the back seat of the bus. So she made one of the students move to a seat in the front that was far from his friends. He got in the seat and started sulking. He was normally a pretty lively kid. So I leaned forward and asked Jude, what happened? To which he replied, I think I just got reverse Rosa Parks said. I worked in an inner city school. First day, I got around hard to pronounce names by calling out last names to check attendance and asking my kiddos what name they preferred. And explained even nicknames were okay, so long as parents knew who I would be calling about. I get to one particularly dark-skinned young man and he says something that sounds like Black Boy. I look around and no one is laughing. I ask him to repeat himself a couple of times and finally and clearly says, Black Boy, pre-K. Rest of convo went like this, me laughing. Black Boy. You want me to call you Black Boy? Him. A kid was squirming as we line up to go to lunch. I asked if he needed to go to the bathroom. Totally serious, yeah. He says no. Everyone calls me that, but keeps squirming. I ask if he's sure that he doesn't need to go and if he's okay. Even my grandma. His reply, me, so let me get this straight. I'm okay. It's just that my penis is so big. When I need your attention you want me. He had an erection. A white guy. To shout out, hey black boy come here. Hey black boy, sit down. Hey black boy pay attention. Other kids finally realize what I've been laughing about and start to laugh too. Him, yeah, said like I'm an idiot. Me, you're just trying to get me fired, aren't you? Him, so you're not gonna call me black boy? Me, I can't man. You got another nickname? Him, how about monkey? We settled on BB for the year. I teach sophomores. One day, this girl was sitting at her desk, looking very concerned, and obviously wanted to ask me something. Finally, she blurted out, did anybody else see the moon in the sky during lunch? It's supposed to be out at night. Something is wrong. I have a fantastic story for this. TL doctor at the end. I'm not a teacher, but when I was in 8th grade we had a teacher who was pregnant and often chewed us out. She taught us in an elective class that was basically for fun projects and creative learning. The class was a reward for students who scored highly enough on exams. Not that we were saints by any means, but the way she was rather mean toward us wasn't appropriate looking back. One day she gave us an extended lecture on how tomorrow's historical society PowerPoint presentations were to be of the utmost seriousness. God help us if we don't treat this like our lives depend on it. So naturally, our class clown hatches a brilliant idea. He memorizes word for word his entire PowerPoint on some ancient culture, makes some edits, and the next day very seriously turns the flash drive over to her. He starts, and he has, unbeknownst to anyone, changed the entire PowerPoint font to wingdings, which is just random symbols, hahaha. He proceeds to do the entire presentation with dead-faced stoicism, while we all laugh our asses off. She said nothing. The following Monday she had resigned and requested a transfer to another school. Our favorite teacher replaced her, making it the best class we all would take. All hail the wingdings guy. Edit TL doctor. Kid memorized and gave an entire PowerPoint in wingdings, and it caused a teacher to quit. I live in Reading. During the care fire last year, we weren't sure how long the school would be open. The air quality was awful and hot. Burnt leaves and ash were raining down. My kids were all tuned into the radio, trying their hardest to figure out what was going on. The radio said that Highway 299 was closed. One of my kids, about 6 years old, instantly had this look of panic on his face and asked me 911 is closed. I just about peed my fucking pants laughing. Some quotes from preschool/elementary after school daycare. I love macaroni and cheese. They live on a farm. Me, can anyone tell me some of the things we get from farms? 4th grader, hamburgers. 3-year-old boy, what's my dog doing right now? Another 3-year-old boy at lunchtime. We have strict rules about kindergarten monkey bars, because they're really high up compared to the other monkey bars at the school. Me, okay. Sort of. Basically we want to make sure no one slams into anyone else and falls. If we take a hamburger apart, 5-year-old boy says to me, what all do we get from a farm? 4th grader, hamburgers come from hamburger farms, missus. You can go this direction on the monkey bars. I read about it online. But you can never, ever go the opposite way during winter break. Some kids and 2 teachers were talking about rumors, including one I heard when I was a kid about a girl who stuck a worm down the school drinking fountain. A 6-year-old looks at me and says, worms aren't sorry when they die. Full stop. Same 6-year-old. After a little girl found a plastic dolphin on the ground. She found it on the ground and she's keeping it. That's what robbers do. On Fridays, preschool and kindergarten get their faces painted in the afternoon. Most kids want to be dinosaurs or fairies or unicorns. One little girl asked to be God. A 4-year-old boy said he has a dog named Holly. One of the teachers said something like, Harley ha. Does your dog ride a motorcycle? And the kid answered sincerely, no, he can't talk. 6-year-old boy on the monkey bars was kinda blurting out whatever popped into his head. He was talking about puppies, and then about guppies, and said the guppy is on the monkey bars. The guppy can't breathe. The guppy is suffering. With the biggest smile on his face. Just then, this one loose cannon mid-20s co-worker of mine straight up hopped the fence to pick some mushrooms and show them to the kids. Just total chaos everywhere. Some 2nd and 3rd grade boys were doing the under the table challenge, which they made up, where you sit under a table and that's the challenge. I look down, and a 2nd grader with eyes like dinner plates is mumbling something to me. I asked him 3 times what he was saying, and finally he goes, did you know there was a guy who pulled a refrigerator with his teeth? I'm a 27-year-old woman. On my first day working there, a kindergartner walked up to me and said, are you a mom or a dad? Anyway, those are the best ones off the top of my head. Teacher to student, were you in class yesterday? Student, sounding more lost than anything, and probably answering too honestly, physically. Question mark? It wasn't so much an attempt at humor as just the summation of how we all felt in that class. One of those it's funny because it's two true things. We all were showing up. We were all sitting in the class physically. But being there? That was another question. I ran workshops over school holidays. A little girl, 5, got her fingers stuck in the plastic netted holes of her chair. She didn't tell me for 2 hours because apparently her big sister, 8, sitting next to her said you never see people walking around stuck to chairs because they send them all to a big island. Everyone who gets stuck in something is sent there because it's too hard to work or study anymore. The furniture they're attached to get in the way. I found out because eventually the little girl needed to pee and she started crying and asking me not to take her away from her mom and dog. Poor thing. Taught ESL for a year. Had an adorable 6-year-old who could not say clock. We worked 4 weeks at it with her. She just could not say it. Poppy, what time is it? It's 6 o'clock. I couldn't help but laugh every time.